An arrest warrant has been issued and secured for former Georgia star, potential #1 overall pick in the upcoming NFL draft, Jalen Carter.
We have so much news about this. The Athens, Georgia Police Department made that announcement this morning that Carter will be arrested for reckless driving and racing. The warrant for Carter stems from his alleged involvement in a fatal January crash that killed his teammate, offensive lineman Devin Willock, and recruiting staffer Chandler LaCroix. The announcement came hours after the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported that Carter was present at the scene of the January 15th crash and later provided shifting accounts of the wreck to police. Here's a portion of the statement from the Athens Police Department. The investigation found that Chandler LaCroix and Jalen Carter were operating their vehicles in a manner consistent with racing shortly after leaving the downtown Athens area. The evidence demonstrated that both vehicles switched between lanes, drove in the center turn lane, drove in opposite lanes of travel, overtook other motorists, and drove at high rates of speed in an apparent attempt to outdistance each other. Now, we just have this news in that representatives for Carter told Athens police that they were making arrangements for Carter to turn himself in to police.
We begin our coverage of this breaking news with NFL reporter Courtney Cronin, who joins us now live from the NFL Combine in Indianapolis. And Courtney, Jalen Carter was scheduled to address reporters this morning, 10:30 Eastern time, but then the warrants were issued about 30 minutes before that scheduled media session. Now Jalen Carter not speaking. Tell us more about the scene there in Indy and how everything has transpired, Courtney.
There was a lot of confusion, Sage, because this news about the arrest warrant breaks around 10 a.m. Eastern time this morning, and there's 30 minutes that go by, and we're wondering, is he going to talk? Is he even still here in Indianapolis? And right around 11 a.m., there was a crowd of about 75 people waiting at his podium. Mike Signora, who's the senior VP for the NFL in terms of communications internationally and with football, comes out and says that none of the 6 players scheduled in that final interview group for 11 a.m. Eastern time would end up talking today. That was a group that included Jalen Carter. And the NFL's official stance is that those players, including Carter, remained in medical evaluations here at the Combine in Indianapolis. We know that, there are questions about his whereabouts currently, but the NFL's official stance was that he remained in medical as of 11 a.m.
Okay. We know you cover the Chicago Bears. We know they have the #1 overall pick. Obviously, they've been linked to Carter in trade scenarios. This news, of course, is really just breaking. But, Courtney, what are you hearing about how this potentially changes things for Chicago?
It could potentially change everything, Sage. This is a team that has the #1 overall pick. A lot of different, ways that they could maneuver where they are currently on the draft board. General Manager Ryan Poles talked to us yesterday confirming that they are indeed leaning towards trading back out of that #1 spot. And we do know that the 3-technique spot for the Chicago Bears in the league's worst pass rush is an area that they want to upgrade. I've talked with Coach Matt Eberflus about it. He calls that position the engine that makes everything go up front on defense. And Jalen Carter was a prospect that they met with on Monday night here in Indianapolis. Certainly a position of need, but we don't know at this time, as this is a developing situation, how far that could the news of the arrest warrant could cause him to fall down their draft board, or whether he'll remain on it at all going forward.
That is our Courtney Cronin live from the Combine in Indy with the latest on this breaking news involving Jalen Carter. Courtney, thank you. Matt?
Yeah, and the domino effect this could have in the upcoming NFL draft remains to be seen. NFL insider Dan Graziano also at the NFL Combine like Courtney. And with Carter potentially involved in this fatal crash in January, Graz, what role does the NFL play from a disciplinary standpoint?
Yeah, Matt, I just talked to somebody with the league and asked that question about can players face discipline for things that went on prior to their entry into the league, and generally the answer has historically been no, but there is a lot of gray area. Now, before I go any further, I want to make it clear that I am not in any way comparing this situation to that of anyone else that has run afoul of the personal conduct policy or had any kind of mark against them entering the league. But if you think about a case like a Joe Mixon, who ran into trouble in college and had a violence charge against him, that happened early on in his college career. The case had been adjudicated. He was not disciplined in any way upon entry to the league. If you think about players like that, Jameis Winston, who had some behavior issues in college, but when Winston did run afoul of the personal conduct policy when he was in the NFL, the league used his pre-NFL behavior and issues as an aggravating factor, to make the suspension longer than it otherwise would have been. So since this incident is so close to now and his time being drafted, I believe the league would have to look into it. There's not a historic precedent for them disciplining a player or suspending a player for behavior that occurred prior to his entry into the league. But again, there is some gray area, and it certainly can be held against him down the road if he were to run into trouble with the personal conduct policy while playing in the NFL.
Dan, quick follow-up, if I may, because I know a lot of what you do as an NFL insider. You're talking to a lot of personnel people from NFL franchises. I'm curious, via text or anything, the reaction to this news this afternoon.
I think people want to be careful because, you want more details, whatever. But obviously, I think, it's a situation where you have a player who was probably under consideration for the #1 pick in the draft, or certainly a very high one. And I think the instant reaction I'm getting, and it feels almost obvious, is that this makes that less likely that it would push him down. Because of what concerns it might raise about him, but also B, the availability concerns. If there is a situation where he might not be available for whatever reason, suspension, et cetera. So I do think it'll definitely affect, as you don't like to really say this in light of a much more serious situation, real life situation, but obviously, yes, it will affect his draft stock, I would think.
All right.